Hello everyone! Today we're talking about La Chamade from Guerlain. Finally, because this is a fragrance I've been putting off reviewing for such a long time, because it's a fragrance I don't understand to this day. I mean, it's how can I even explain this? It's a beautiful, very, very beautiful fragrance that I own and wear for quite some time in this form. This is my bottle, the bottle that I've had for quite a few years, and you can tell I've worn from it. But this is a fragrance that no matter, and it's not the only one, no matter how many times I wear it, it's like it has this mysterious quality to it where my mind and my nose just cannot grasp. I mean, I don't know what is it with this fragrance that is so mysterious. And I it's not even about the fact that I cannot distinguish the notes all that well, because that shouldn't matter. It's just the fact that I don't understand where it comes from. It's like it's a total stranger to me that I'm trying to get to know. I might just have to understand and be at peace with. I might never understand and get to know this fragrance as I should. Now, we have 3 different versions of Chamade today that we will smell and discuss, and we are going to smell the eau de toilette in the B bottle. This is the fragrance from 2017. It's a bottle from 2017. Then we are going to smell the Extrait, the Parfum version, which is it's something that prompted me to buy the next one, which is this one. This is my latest, or one of my latest purchases, which is a Chamade Parfum de Toilette, which is nothing else than eau de parfum from the 80s. This is a bottle from, I think, 85 or 86. 1986. Okay, so let me just start by saying this Chamade was a fragrance done by Jean-Paul Guerlain. It was released in the late 60s, and it doesn't show. It should show, but it doesn't show, because this Chamade is just so removed from time. And I should spray this. I want to start with the EDT, as it's normal. It's the way I got to know the fragrance, so I should keep it at that. This belongs, right? So this was done in the early 70s, you might also say. Late 60s, early 70s, because it's 1969. And the name, oh goodness, the name La Chamade, or Chamade, is it's the calling, right? It's the calling. It's a military term. It's got something to do with sounding the retreat, right? It's a drum roll, which means we're defeated. I mean, if somebody is going to correct me on this, feel free. I will never claim that I know these facts to perfection. We're defeated. We need to retreat. Somebody sound the retreat, and this is Chamade, right? It's the calling for the retreat. Now, when you combine, when you take into account the name, right, sounding of the retreat, with the beautiful bottle it was launched in, which sadly I don't have, leave me alone. It's very, very expensive. I wanted to purchase one, but they are just too expensive. Like, maybe at some point when I finally find one. So when you factor in the bottle, which is a heart that's been pierced, you can kind of tell it's kind of here, right? So the motif of the heart is here, and well, I'll just post a picture. It's been pierced, right, by an arrow. You know, it's a very common. It's something that you might have seen quite a lot during our lifetime. The stopper is the tip of the arrow that just pierced the heart, right? So it's supposed to be falling hopelessly in love, and it's supposed to be a story about, you know, love loss. And the name of the fragrance comes from Françoise Sagan's 1965, I think, novel, which I haven't read, to my shame. I haven't read because I have some doubts. Maybe it's a good novel, I don't know. But the subject doesn't interest me all that much, because again, it's about love loss, and it's been turned into a movie. The novel is called Chamade, or La Chamade, have to make sure, and it's been turned into a movie starring Catherine Deneuve, which is great. I might be at some point I might watch that. So that's enough about the history. The history of the fragrance is always something that's kind of shrouded in this sort of the mists of time. You don't know for sure what's going on there. But the fragrance is, you know, it's something else. It's supposed to be, and it's a floral chypre. But always, and it, to my nose, this derives naturally from Vol de Nuit, because it's the same sort of, and this is why I say it doesn't necessarily belong to the 60s or the 70s, because it where it belongs, it's the inception of modern floral chypres, right? Early modern floral chypres, which, you know, all of them took life with number 5 from Chanel. And I think it's the same sort of heavily aldehydic, fresh spring floral type of smell that you already have in Vol de Nuit, right? And I think this fragrance kind of naturally evolved from that. And it does have a sister fragrance. Chamade has a sister fragrance, which is Chant d'Arôme, which was released a few years earlier than Chamade. And it is something, because I have an older version of Chant d'Arôme on the way, and it is something I will film. And funnily enough, Chant d'Arôme is the other fragrance from Guerlain that I haven't truly grasped. That other mysterious thing. You don't know how to place it, how to put it, but I feel that I don't know these fragrances. Well, I do know them well enough to speak of them and maybe to describe them, but it's just that I haven't grasped their true meaning. And I am making efforts for this, and I'm two steps closer, because earlier this year, a few months ago, I got this small decant, which I'm very grateful to the person who sent me this decant of the Chamade Extrait, which is, you know, I don't know, and this is something I should probably find out, but I don't know the era of this. I don't know how old this is, but let me tell you, the EDT and the Extrait are worlds apart. They are, you know, I don't even know how to say this. It's like they're not the same fragrance. This is why I suspect that Chamade Parfum is a bit older. Not sure. I will find out. So Chamade, the EDT, which is the, because I realize I haven't spoken of this. The EDT is this quite daring, very aldehydic, very green, floral chypre. And because it's an EDT, all of it is concentrated more to the middle and the top notes. It's got a very beautiful bergamot, not just in the opening, it's running across. It's a very lemony towards lemongrass smell. So it's quite a protruding citrusy scent that's kind of running through the whole fragrance, and it's very, very beautiful. It does prompt me to think how they did this, because it's not fleeting, it's something that kind of stays with you until the very end. And just like Vol de Nuit, because there are many similarities to Vol de Nuit in terms of architecture, just like Vol de Nuit, it's heavily based on galbanum, which is this green, grassy green, but also resinous kind of scent, which is, you know, it does help it become a chypre, help it take the form of a chypre, because this is a fragrance that isn't, well, as far as I know, isn't based on oak moss, right? So I don't think most people call this a floral amber, but I will go one step further and call it a chypre, because to my nose this is what it is. And just like Vol de Nuit, it has this bouquet of flowers. Now, where Vol de Nuit is concentrated on narcissus, well, daffodil, narcissus, and violet and iris, this is concentrated on lilac, jasmine, of course, and, as I said, spring flowers, something. It's supposed to be hyacinth, but it's not. You know, it's not hyper realistic hyacinth. It's more like white bluish florals that are very fresh and have this berry tart quality to them. And remember that bergamot that runs through all of this, that citrus that runs through all of this. This fragrance is very, very fresh. It's very tart. It's very tonic. It's very, well, it is an eau de toilette, so it's quite fitting that it be all those things. However, where this fragrance loses me is the base. The base is highly elusive. It's ambery, and this is a fairly linear scent. It doesn't, I'm talking about this one, it doesn't change all that much. It doesn't change all that much when you wear it, but it becomes more ambery. There's never heavy vanilla in this. It doesn't become powdery. See, this is why I say when I'm talking about Vol de Nuit, I know it, I understand it. It's I know it by heart. I know all its stages. I know everything there is to know about Vol de Nuit. But Chamade still escapes me. But I can tell you, it never becomes powdery. It never becomes, well, it is, because it from the lilac, but it never becomes heavily vanillic. It never becomes like this. It's like it's an incomplete fragrance, and it's not saying, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I do love this, but it's like it's very concentrated on the middle and the top. Now let's get to the Extrait, which, as I said, is a very, very different scent. It's miles apart from this one, from the EDT, or rather from the newer Chamade, because as we'll see, we will also talk about a variant from the 80s. So, well, Chamade in this form is very, no, this is no doubt a Chypre. Why? Because you can smell the earthiness, you can smell the base finally, and the base is, again, it's very galbanum heavy, it's very cassis heavy, it's that black currant smell that you can smell in Magie Noire. So it is no doubt a Chypre. And the florals here are just a bit woodier. They're the same type of florals, right? So maybe just a bit heavier on the jasmine and not so heavy on the I wanted to say, because it's very difficult, because this one is more agglutinated to the bottom, to the base, so it's very difficult to focus on the hyacinth, but it's still there. It's just that it's kind of that cassis, that black currant leaf bud kind of smell just steals everything. This is a very grassy smell. It's bitter, grassy, galbanum, not as aldehydic as the eau de toilette, but as I said, the florals are woodier. We've got hints of spiciness here. We've got a much whiter floral heart than the eau de toilette, which is bluish white. It's more spring floral. It's more heavier on the lilac. It does remind, this EDT also has something akin to the Guerlain fragrance from the 90s, from the 2000s, and the what's it called, Champs-Élysées, right? It's kind of there, but this one, and mind you, they all of them become sort of the same scent and its base and its drier stages, but it's just the journey is so wildly different. It's such a beautiful, beautiful scent. It's just florals. So Chamade to me is like never-ending florals, whereas Vol de Nuit is a cold iris narcissus smell that kind of starts, you know, this supernova of exquisite powdery vanilla that just, Vol de Nuit is very similar in architecture to L'Heure Bleue because they are, you know, closer in time. This Chamade, I think Chamade is the precursor fragrance to, well, first of all, Parure, because Parure is the one, that one is the plum Chypre, right? It's the plum Chypre from the early late 70s, I think. I have to check. It's a 70-80 fragrance, Parure, but more leaning towards 70s. And after this, you've got Jardins de Bagatelle, which is this huge, endless white floral jasmine tuberose scent, which is just insane. I love Jardins de Bagatelle. Okay, so I think that Chamade is the precursor to all of these because it does share, and they are all of them, Chandarom, Chamade, Jardins de Bagatelle, Parure, they are all of them Jean-Paul Guerlain's offspring. And of course there's similarities between them. What I love about the Extrait is how bitter it is. It's well, yeah, it's more balmy, it's more bitter. It's just, yeah. So because I smell the Extrait and my love for Chamade got rekindled, I got the opportunity to purchase this fragrance from the 80s, and I don't remember what this was called, the type of bottle, but this type of bottle was for the Parfum de Toilette version of fragrances. All of them, Mitsuko, L'Heure Bleue, all of them, even Chalimard, were found in these type of bottles at some point. And this version is much closer to the idea of the Extrait than the Eau de Toilette. However, it is such a beautiful middle ground between them that I do recognize the Eau de Toilette a lot more than in the Extrait. So this one, what this version has, it's lost most of the bitterness of the Extrait, and what it has is this creaminess. This is one of the creamiest, I mean, it's definitely the creamiest Chamade version I've ever smelled, but it is as creamy as Jardins de Bagatelle, which is insane. It's creamy white floral, this one, almost. Such a beautiful, because you can feel the sandalwood in this so much clearer than anywhere else. I mean, it's different decades of Chamade. It's different times of Chamade, different interpretations of Chamade, formulations, and so on and so forth. But it's still, my goodness. So, as I said, all of them kind of dry down to the same idea, not the same scent, but the same idea of scent, which is still an endless floral. But this one, the further you go to the base, so the Eau de Parfum or the Parfum de Toilette and the Extrait tend to be a lot woodier, a lot more bitter, a lot, well, less floral than the Eau de Toilette, and just, but the fact that this version is so creamy and so, it's like the perfect balance to everything, because nothing stands. I think this is, well, this has to be my favorite because, first of all, this is not something, it's a very small decant. It's a very beautiful version, but I do prefer this one, even to the Eau de Toilette, because it's the most balanced one. It's the most, where everything is right at home. It feels where it's supposed to be. I want to apply this on the skin as well. Oh hell, I'm not wearing anything today, so let's do this. Oh god. And finally, there's the amber, right? Finally, you can get the amber in this fragrance, which is just slightly vanillic, more into the realm of bitter, grassy, again, type of resin, that galbanum, as I said. Oh God. So yeah, this one, the Parfum de Toilette, doesn't retain the berry quality of the Eau de Toilette, but it does retain the citrus, right? That kind of runs through all of the fragrance, through all of the stages. Such a beautiful bouquet, endless bouquet of flowers. But it's just so mysterious again. I think I described it quite well, not to toot my own horn, but I think I described it quite well for what it is. But I still don't feel that I'm closer to grasping a meaning behind this. So I invite you all, whoever knows these fragrances, this fragrance, whoever wears it, do let me know what you feel about Chamade. Even if you've only smelled it once, do let me know your impressions on Chamade, because this is a classic from the house of Guerlain. It's a classic that's more closer to us in time than, you know, Shalimar or L'Heure Bleue or Mitsuko or Vol de Nuit for that matter. So it should be, you know, easier for us to grasp, but still, it's because it's from such different era. It's from the, you know, late 60s. It might have some, you know, for some people might have difficulties, you know, not understanding, but just going for this fragrance. So do let me know what you think of Chamade. Do let me know if you've got any other questions. I will happily answer them. And that's it. I hope this review was useful to you somehow. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.